My fiancé and I have been together for 8 years, and we currently have a 2-month-old son. I work from home part-time. Maybe about 3 weeks after I had the baby, he got laid off. There was a company closure that the employees weren't warned of, so it wasn't his fault. We live right beside the city, though, so finding a job isn't that difficult. So he just started pushing out multiple applications and got a hit on like 4 or 5 places and went for interviews. He took the job where his ex works. I didn't know he applied there. I have a plethora of issues with this, but my 2 main concerns are: 1, this job is $3 less an hour than one of the other jobs he was offered. And 2, his ex is a psycho and I don't want the drama in my life. For a bit of background, for the first 4 years of our relationship, she stalked him, like police involvement stalking. She was leaving notes on our car windshields and mailboxes. She was going to his place of employment and standing by his car, taking her friends' phones to message both him and me on Facebook or through text, running her mouth to people about my children, not his, and him, saying that he's playing daddy to a bunch of fricked up kids that ain't his. Randomly showing up at parties that she knew we were attending, even if she was only an acquaintance with the person throwing it, etc., etc., etc. It made our lives a living hell. We got restraining orders and moved twice. We didn't hear anything from her for a while after this, but last year she did try adding my fiancé on Facebook, off another one of her random profiles. He blocked it, we moved on and haven't heard from her again. The only reason we know she works there is because we saw her emptying the trash in one of their uniforms outside maybe 2 weeks ago. He didn't tell me he was starting this job. He only told me he started work. When he got home, he was just acting weird. He finally said, "I know you're going to probably be mad, but Katie said she was sorry." Me, completely oblivious, said, "Who TF is Katie?" He goes, "Katrina." Katie is apparently a nickname that I wasn't aware of because he has always called her Katrina. So I asked how he knew she was sorry, and he tells me he started work at her place of employment, and apparently she talked to me a lot about how she wishes she could take it all back and wants me to forgive her so we can all move on. Then he continues by saying, "I asked her why she tried reaching out to me a year ago because I've always been curious about it, and she said she wanted to apologize and clear the water." I told him I wasn't okay with any of this. We just had a baby, and I don't trust that Katrina won't flip it up again and go mental like she did before. I don't want the drama. I asked why he even went there, because I know that place doesn't pay as good as the other one, who offered him a better job, and he goes, "Well, this one seemed less fast-paced, and given I'm exhausted with the baby and everything, this one seemed more logical." Maybe I'm wrong, but I said, "So you chose to go work with your ex and make amends with her because it's easier versus go with a better job and make more money for your kid." He immediately started defending her, saying that she was genuine with her apology and he knew she meant it because he knows her better than anyone. I immediately just started packing. I didn't make any further comments. I refused to be in this situation, and given that he's defending her, calling her by her nickname after never doing so, and getting heated with me for being upset, just rings red flags all the way around. I took the baby/my kids and went to my mom's after handing him back his ring. He didn't say anything, but now I'm getting texts 3 days later asking to see the baby. I would never deny him and talk this over. I told him I'm not willing to talk anything over unless he is willing to quit that job and continue to keep his ex out of his life. He said he can't just quit. So I said I have no interest in talking. Am I the idiot? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I am with you if there was no other job, maybe, but not with all the drama before. I would die on this hill if it was me. As long as he is working there, he would not be in my life anymore. But you need to do what is best for you. I also do not like that he is defending the ex after everything she put you through. A new baby is hard enough without trying to deal with the outside drama. Good luck. Comment 2. $3 per hour is $120 per week. That's pretty much $500 per month. $500 can go a long way with a new infant in the house. He should have talked to you before he took the job, since I assume he knew that Katrina Katie worked there. Not the idiot. and I am usually calling for more understanding and communication. This has no and heck no written all over it. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the comments and support on my last post. It's been a month since I dropped that bomb about my fiancé taking a job where his psycho ex works, and boy, do I have an update for you all. So, after I left and went to my mom's with the baby and my kids, things were tense. My fiancé kept texting, trying to see the baby and fix things. I was firm on my stance, no job with the ex, no us. It was a tough line to draw, but I had to think about my kids and our newborn. A week into our separation, my fiancé showed up at my mom's unannounced. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. He begged to talk, so we went for a walk, leaving the kids with my mom. He confessed that he realized he made a huge mistake. He admitted that he took the job because it was comfortable and familiar, not because it was the best option for our family. He said he was sorry for not considering my feelings and the history with Katrina. I was skeptical, but I could see the regret in his eyes. He told me he had already quit the job and was actively looking for a new one. He even showed me the email confirmation of his resignation. I was shocked. He had actually done it, but I wasn't ready to jump back into things. Over the next couple of weeks, we had several long discussions. He shared stories from his past that I hadn't heard before, like how Katrina had manipulated situations to make him feel guilty for leaving her. He opened up about the guilt he felt for bringing her chaos into our lives and how he wanted to make it right. Meanwhile, Katrina was not taking the news of his resignation well. She showed up at my mom's house one day, ranting and raving. My mom called the police, and they had to escort her off the property. It was a mess, but it was also a turning point for my fiancé. Seeing her true colors again reaffirmed his decision to leave that job. Then, 2 weeks ago, my fiancé landed a new job. It paid more than the one he left and even more than the one he turned down initially. He was ecstatic, and so was I. It felt like a fresh start for us. He moved back in, and we've been rebuilding our relationship ever since. But the real jaw-dropping moment came just a few days ago. My fiancé came home from work with a surprise. He had been talking to a lawyer about Katrina and her harassment. He had gathered evidence from the past and recent events and was filing for a more permanent solution to keep her away from us. He wanted to show me that he was serious about protecting our family and ensuring that Katrina could no longer interfere with our lives. It was a huge relief. After years of dealing with her stalking and harassment, we might finally get some peace. It was like a weight had been lifted off our shoulders. And just yesterday, my fiancé did something that made my heart swell. He organized a small family gathering in our backyard. It was just us, the kids, and a few close relatives. He got down on one knee, again, and asked me to marry him, again. This time, he promised that our family would always come first, and that he would never let anyone come between us again. I said yes, of course. The kids were cheering, and our little one was giggling in my arms. It was a moment of pure joy after a month of uncertainty and stress. My boyfriend gets fired and wants to start a business, but I see him as a liability. So when he asks to give his daughter a job, I say no, and his ex accuses me of this. My 40-year-old boyfriend, Kirk, 39-year-old male, and I are in very different situations in life. He just got fired from a job that his father got him and had decided that he wants to start a business. He doesn't know what type of business or what industry and is focusing on getting rich quick schemes. I've tried to warn him, but I'm not getting involved after he inferred that I just want to keep him from his success. Right now, he's doing gigs at a local theater, but he doesn't get called more than 3 days a week. I'm a business owner, and I'm financially stable. I care about him, but I feel like my love is fading. I know it sounds bad, but right now, he looks like a potential liability. He recently got kicked out from his cousin's house. This took me by surprise because, as far as I knew, he was still living in his old apartment. He asked me to let his 16-year-old daughter stay over on his assigned weeks, as per the shared custody agreement. I declined. I can't have a minor basically come live with me without her mother's knowledge. He says he can't move to his mother-in-law's place because there's no space. I suggested he let his child stay with her mom until they can resume the shared custody schedule agreement, but he is dead set against it. He and his ex-wife have a horrible co-parenting relationship, and I'm almost sure that she would drag him to court once again. I want no part of it, and I don't want to be dragged into their enmity. I already had my own divorce custody drama, and it got resolved years ago, and I want zero action into his mess. So he asked me to give his daughter a job at my company. So far, she worked for me on weekends, helping tidy up the office. But he stopped bringing her, or she stopped wanting the job. I paid her $60. So now he asked me to help guide her into business ownership. I have no problem giving her tips, but she needs an education. And I'm noticing that he doesn't value that. It's almost like he's cutting corners with her, and I don't approve. I like her, but he's treating me like this potentially awesome thing, mentor, bridge, door opener, that happened to his kid without considering that he needs to instill values like responsibility and discipline. She and I have a cordial relationship, but I cannot say that we are close. I recently tried to talk to him about our relationship. I stopped taking him on dates because he never returns the favor. I told him we need to consider breaking up, and he got very angry and made it all about me not wanting to take his daughter in, and made me feel like I'm this perverse, jealous stepmom who wants the kid to fail. All of his arguments revolved around me not being there for his kid when she needed me. Am I the idiot? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. He's failing at life and parenting and hoping his rich girlfriend will pick up the slack and take care of him and his daughter. You're very smart for noticing these red flags and wanting out. He's trying to put the blame on you so he can call you the bad guy and not take responsibility for his failings. Comment 2. Not the idiot. He's extremely high maintenance and you can't respect him. He is unwilling to put in the work, both for his own success and in your relationship. From how you describe it, this isn't going to work out. And when you have a crisis, figure out what the end is going to be and go there. Now for the update. Hey Reddit, it's been a week since I last posted about my boyfriend Kirk and the situation with his daughter and our relationship. I've got an update for you all, and let me tell you, it's been a busy ride. So after I suggested to Kirk that we might need to break up, things escalated quickly. He stormed out of my place, and I didn't hear from him for a couple of days. I was honestly relieved for the silence, but it didn't last long. Kirk showed up at my business unannounced, and this is where things took a turn. He brought his daughter with him, and she looked upset. Kirk had this idea that if he could show me how much his daughter needed a job, I would cave and give her a full-time position. But here's the twist. His daughter didn't want to work for me. She confessed that she wanted to focus on her education and that her dad was pressuring her to start earning money instead. I was taken aback. I had always known Kirk didn't value education the way I did, but I didn't realize he was pushing his own agenda on his daughter. I felt for her, caught between her parents' expectations and her own aspirations. The confrontation didn't stop there. Kirk's ex-wife showed up, and it was clear she had been following him. She was furious that Kirk was trying to involve their daughter in his unstable financial schemes and that he had brought her to my business without her consent. The argument between Kirk and his ex-wife was intense. Accusations were thrown around, and it was evident that their co-parenting relationship was more strained than I had ever imagined. I tried to stay out of it, but then Kirk's ex-wife turned to me and accused me of trying to replace her with her daughter. I was shocked. I had always tried to maintain a respectful distance, knowing the sensitivity of their family dynamics. But in that moment, I realized that Kirk had been telling his ex-wife that I was the one pushing for their daughter to work for me, painting me as the bad guy in their family drama. I had to set the record straight. I told his ex-wife that I had never intended to take her place and that I had actually advised Kirk to focus on his daughter's education. The look on Kirk's face when I said that was a mix of shock and betrayal. But the real jaw-dropping moment came when Kirk's daughter spoke up. She told her parents that she had been accepted into a prestigious summer program for high school students interested in business and entrepreneurship. She had kept it a secret, fearing her father's reaction. Kirk was speechless. His daughter had achieved something on her own, something that could set her on a path to success without any of his get-rich-quick schemes. It was a wake-up call for him. The aftermath of that confrontation was messy. Kirk's ex-wife took their daughter home, and Kirk stayed behind to talk to me. He apologized for everything, admitting that he had been wrong to use his daughter as a pawn in his own insecurities about success and money. As for our relationship, it's hanging by a thread. I told Kirk that we needed to take a serious look at where we were heading and whether we could find a way to support each other's goals without undermining them. He agreed, but I could tell he was still processing the revelation about his daughter's achievements. It's been a tense week, to say the least. I've been reflecting on my own role in all of this and how I can better protect my boundaries while still being supportive. Kirk has been quiet, and I think he's starting to realize that his approach to life and business needs a major overhaul. My family celebrates my med school graduation by forgetting to pay for dinner, and then Mom accuses me of stealing her daughter. But when my husband posts about it online, my sister claims this. So I, 31-year-old female, recently finished medical school. My family requested to take me out to dinner to celebrate. We get there. There was no mention of a celebration, no toast. We all just ordered and ate. My 2 kids, 3 years old and 18 months, were getting pretty restless before we had even finished eating. My husband had been up since 6 a.m., and we were both working the next morning. So when my youngest started to crawl all over the table, I started to round them up and leave. We had intended on contributing to dinner, but between both kids screaming to leave the restaurant, we forgot. The next morning, my mother calls me and is saying how upset and disappointed she was that we didn't thank them for dinner or pay. I told her that getting the kids as upset as they were, we forgot, and that I would expect a bit more understanding. During the day on Monday, I knew my sister was supposed to pick up a few items for my grandmother. I offered twice to do so for her, and she told me no. The second time, she shouted at me when I asked her if she needed me to come collect the items before I went home. She insisted she didn't, only for her to call me when I got home to ask my husband to leave and come collect the items. I expressed that I didn't appreciate being spoken to like that. The next day, my mother will again send me a passive-aggressive text message accusing me of keeping my daughter from her because I hadn't video called her because of the text she sent me on Saturday. I told her I wasn't that petty and that my daughter simply came home tired and went to bed. And I've been busy as I have a lot of things to get together before I start my internship. She and I basically had an exchange of words. I felt like I wasn't allowed to enjoy my accomplishment, and she was making everything an issue. I decided to block all of them because my siblings frequently act as flying monkeys when we disagree. I cried to my husband about how I felt I was being treated, and after I had worked so hard, my accomplishment didn't even matter. He then posted on social media, "I am aware this did stir shoot unnecessarily," about parents who felt jealous of their children's accomplishments. The next day, my sister, having taken offense to what my husband said, tells us that her boyfriend will not be picking up our oldest from preschool anymore. I text him to confirm this. He doesn't respond. So I call my mother and tell her how disappointed I am with how they have decided to behave. While I'm on my phone, my sister sends my husband a text. She claims she thought I had the phone. This is an excerpt from the text. "If anyone is jealous, it's him that he doesn't have a mother to love him, but more so a common alcoholic intimacy worker. And he didn't even with a father, seeing as his own father couldn't stand him and molested him, but like the way he molests his sisters. You want that for your daughters." We took from that message that she's implying he would molest our daughters, which is hurtful in and of itself, but also accusing him of intimacy abuse of his sister, when in actuality, he was the one abused to the point he still has physical scars today. My mother is defending my sister, saying that wasn't what she meant and she shouldn't have sent it to his phone. But she's more pissed about the fact that after my husband received that text, He texted my sister's boyfriend and told him about the fact my sister had cheated on him. So my mother wants him to apologize to my sister's boyfriend and is pissed that we've said the kids can't go to her house anymore, and basically that I'm ungrateful and putting a man before my family and kids. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Please cut these people off. We want to take you out to dinner to celebrate your accomplishment, but oh my God, you left without paying for the dinner. Like, what the actual heck is wrong with people? Go very low contact until they learn how to behave. And congratulations. Graduating from med school is a huge accomplishment. Pow cake champagne. Comment 2. I'd be getting my home in order. Sis is going to call Child Protective Services on you, I would guess. They need to not have any contact with your children. Remove all of them from the pickup lists and become completely self-sufficient. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the comments on my last post. It's been a busy couple of weeks since then, and I've got quite the update for you all. After the whole mess with my family, things took a turn for the steamy, and not in a good way. My husband, who's been my rock through all of this, started getting these anonymous texts. At first, we thought it was just spam, but then the messages got personal, talking about our family drama. We had a hunch it was my sister using a burner phone, but we couldn't prove it. Now, remember how my sister's boyfriend was supposed to stop picking up our oldest from preschool? Well, he kept showing up, acting like nothing happened. It was confusing, to say the least. My husband and I decided to confront him about it, and that's when the bomb dropped. He hadn't received any message from my sister about stopping the pickups. Turns out, she never told him about the cheating accusation either. The confrontation got heated, and in the heat of the moment, my sister's boyfriend admitted that he knew about my sister's infidelity all along. He'd been trying to work things out with her, but my husband's text was the last straw. He broke up with her right then and there, in front of us. It was jaw-dropping, to say the least. Meanwhile, my mother was still on the warpath, demanding apologies left and right. She even tried to get my in-laws involved, telling them that my husband and I were tearing the family apart. Thankfully, my in-laws are the most understanding people, and they've been supporting us through this mess. But here's the twist. My husband, who's been dealing with his own family trauma, started having nightmares again. The stress of the situation was bringing back old wounds. He'd wake up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, shaking. It broke my heart to see him like this. We decided it was time for him to go back to therapy, and it's been helping, but it's a slow process. In the midst of all this, my sister tried to reach out to me. She was a mess after the breakup and wanted to apologize for everything. I agreed to meet her without our spouses to talk things through. It was a tense meeting. She admitted to sending the anonymous text to my husband and begged for my forgiveness. I could see she was genuinely remorseful, but the damage was done. I told her I needed time to think about whether I could forgive her. It wasn't going to be easy, especially after everything that had happened. But I also remembered the good times we had as kids before all the drama started. It's hard to let go of that sisterly bond, even when it's been stretched to its limits. As for my mother, she's been trying to play the peacemaker now, but it feels too little, too late. She's been dropping off homemade meals and trying to get us to come over for a family dinner. I appreciate the gesture, but I can't shake the feeling that she's doing it more for appearances than for genuine reconciliation. And then there's my husband. He's been my pillar through all of this, but I can see the strain it's putting on him. We've been trying to keep things normal for the kids, but they can sense that something's off. Our oldest keeps asking why we don't see Grandma and Auntie anymore, and it's hard to explain to a 3-year-old. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.